Alright everybody, so today we're going to do an unboxing of Super Dungeon Explorer. A little bit about the game. It's actually a pretty awesome game from everything I've read so far. It's a board game that emulates the experience of not only a dungeon crawl, but a video game dungeon crawl. So as you go throughout the game, there's power-ups, potions get dropped, loot gets dropped. There's a number of really cool minis, which you can see on the back here. It's got kind of a anime feel to it a little bit. So here's basically your dungeon board and all your different minis, and we'll go ahead and rip this sucker open and get a better idea of what's inside and talk a little bit about what we find. I've noticed that some of the unboxing videos which I have seen on the internet for this game have kind of cheated a bit, because the minis are actually in quite a bit of pieces, and so I've seen some videos where they've apparently pre-unboxed it and put all the minis together, but we're not going to do such shenanigans here. So the first thing you find when you open up the box is a nice color rule book. Lots of rules and information about the different regions of the world. A little bit of description about what all you're going to get in the box, your rule book, of course, the various dice. The dice are especially cool because the different color of dice are relevant to potentially how much damage you can do. So the green dice, for example, are extremely powerful, if I remember reading correctly. We have our various counters. So we've got a couple sheets of cardboard counters here. Our life tokens and what appear to be some shields, some armor, something that looks like a helmet, and something that looks quite a lot like a fish. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that one, but I'm sure we'll find out as we go on. In addition to these tokens, we also have some more tokens, various potion types, some probably death or damage counters, it looks like a loot counter, some poison tokens. We have some other interesting looking tokens. We'll have to dig into that a little bit more in the rulebook and see what those are. This is our track that gets used in the game. So as you're playing through the game, you're making your way around, and you notice it even says 8-bit, 16-bit, and then super. And so the concept of this is that, again, you're emulating a video game. So as you're working your way around the track, you're spawning different monsters at these various points until you eventually get to a boss monster that you're going to spawn. So your adventure effects cards, your treasure cards, your loot cards are all going to be stuck in here. The loot track advances throughout the game as well as the monster spawning track. It's kind of a neat idea. So here we have some of the various dungeon tiles, which are quite sturdy and nicely put together, and all of them are two-sided, so this is kind of a lava and magma pair of tracks. And then on the other side we've got something a little darker, a little more sinister looking. And on the flip side of this we have what appears to be a chamber, not just a maze. And this appears to be a series of corridors with some rooms attached to them. And on the back we have something a little flashier, a little more JRPG-ish. One of the things I like best about this game is the fact that it does lean so heavily on video game history, and specifically video game RPG history. So from everything I've read so far, and we haven't played it yet obviously since we just opened it, but everything I've read so far is that the gameplay itself feels a lot like you're actually playing a video game as much as you can with moving minis around a board. And so we have this piece as well, a few dead bones, some columns, pretty traditional dungeon fare. You can see we've got the arrows on each edge of the board, which show you how to connect to other tiles, whether they're going this way or this way, or regardless of which side you might be using. So here are the dice. So the dice are pretty cool. If you saw the Gears of War video, there's some similar concepts here. You've got stars indicating potentially how much damage you're doing, as well as you've got blue dice, red dice, and green dice. In addition to stars, you can also roll hearts, which are kind of like a level up, or a power up rather, to get you more life. You can also roll potions, and on the green dice you can actually roll hearts and potions at the same time, which is pretty cool. The type of character you're using and the type of weapons they're using will have a direct impact on which dice you use. And of course, these come in a nice little Ziploc bag, which is especially nice for keeping track of your minis. Got our various bases here. The bases are kind of neat because they're already textured for a dungeon-y feel. If you want to zoom in on that, these will be fun to paint.
Oh yeah.
Just chances are, if you just prime them black and do a little white or light gray dry brush over them, it'll really pick out the stone detail pretty well. So those should be a breeze to paint. Saving the best for last here. We've also got the various cards. So we've got a combination of monster cards, hero cards, and various game effects in our loot. The box itself is nicely cut away so that you can dig in and get the cards without bending them up. Got these little cutaway parts here. Here's our treasure pack, which a good example here, Kobolds Attack. A band of wicked kobolds has tried to make off with your treasure and steal your dice. Please find and replace all blue-backed loot cards that have a red item on the reverse side in your game of Super Dungeon Explorer. Please discard and replace them with this pack of 18 treasure cards with the red fronts. So apparently a little bit of errata made it into the system. I guess there were some production problems, and so now it comes with the right cards. You just have to add them into your deck. It's pretty interesting. The fact that it made it into the box at least.
Sure.
And so there's also some rulebook addendums.
Cool that they kept it into the theme.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of saying, hey, we screwed up. So here we have, let me move this box out of the way. Here we have our various minis. Now everything I've been hearing about these minis is that while they are gorgeously detailed, they're also a colossal pain in the butt to put together. Some of the simpler minis, such as the kobolds, have upwards of 10 to 12 pieces. And these are minis that are extremely small and plentiful. So a lot of time is going to be spent putting these bad boys together. Now they do look fantastic. I don't know how well you can see it here, but for example, one of the heroic minis has actually got quite a bit of detail. So apparently Ozzy Osbourne has entered the dungeon. In addition to that, you can see the treasure chests. So there's a number of treasure chests that are used, placed throughout the board, and you don't know what's in any of them. So when you find one of these, then you're going to pull some treasure cards. We got the dwarf here. We've got, looks like a little anime hero guy, an elven guy, or at least part of him here. So a lot of cool stuff to put together. Here's one of the, unfortunately these aren't Ziplocs, but here's one of the cooler looking minis. It's a giant angry bear with chains on him. And unfortunately this guy looks like he's mostly put together. So that's not going to take a whole lot of work on our part, although I'll definitely enjoy painting him. Now the gray minis all represent your heroic minis or your allies in the case of the bear. The red minis are the various monsters. So as you can see here, they actually come in quite a bit of pieces as well. For the most part, it looks like it's all snapped together and lock in place, but everything I've seen online so far indicates that you're still going to want to use potentially a fair amount of super glue to really hold these things together. But for quick demo purposes, you can probably snap a few of them together and they'll stay put long enough to get a feel for the game. So in addition to that bag, we've got some more pieces here. Looks like these are the spawn points, and so the various monsters have custom spawn points for each monster, and so you're going to have a kobold spawn point and a dragon spawn point, and each of them have their own look and feel. One of the chief complaints, and one of the only real complaints other than just the amount of effort involved in putting everything together, is that for the most part there's really only two types of monsters. There's kobolds and dragons. So current speculation indicates that there's going to be expansions coming, and hopefully soon, because there's only so many different scenarios where you're going to be able to play against kobolds and monsters before you get really tired of them. So hopefully there'll be some new monsters as well as cards coming out really soon for those. Here's various pieces of armor and stuff. If I understand correctly, this bag here contains a few kobolds. As you can see, there's a lot of pieces there. Here are the pieces for the dragon itself. I've also heard that some of the sculpts on the dragon don't come together very well, so you may be using some green stuff or some extra glue or something to really get him together. Possibly even some filing down to get everything to mesh up just right. In addition to the box set, there's also a promo mini, which you can get if you. I think if you pre-ordered the box set, they made this mini called Candy and Cola, which is a human hero and her pet. And I believe her pet is a cat. It's always hard to tell with some of the anime style what exactly the creature is. But this was a metal mini, unlike the plastic ones, that was available for purchase if you pre-ordered the game through Soda Pop Miniatures. This is their first game. They've done a number of really cool miniatures, and if you go to their website, sodapopminiatures.com, they have a lot of the metal miniatures, not only for this game but for other stuff as well that you can order. And this game was made in conjunction with CoolMiniOrNot.com, which, if you're not familiar with that, is a great site for checking out painted minis, and you can post pictures of your own, and other people can vote on them whether or not they are indeed a cool mini or not. So with that, that's pretty much everything out of the box, and I'm going to be spending probably the next week or two putting all this stuff together and hopefully getting a game going soon, and maybe we'll catch some video with that as well. Thank you.